Hello my friends, and welcome to your Adventure Compass. Today we're in Birmingham, Michigan to check out the Cranbrook Institute of Science. It's a bit of a hands-on museum and also a regular museum because they have dinosaur bones and cool things like that. So we're here to check it out. I have not been here since I was a kid, so I don't remember exactly what all is in here, but come along with us for this fun adventure. And here we go, Cranbrook Institute of Science. We're going to head on in, and you can see up there they have some pictures of dinosaurs and dinosaur skeletons, so hopefully we'll see some of that as we head in. All right, just to let you guys know, admission was $22.50 for myself and my daughter. Adults are a little bit more than children, and we did pay an additional because they have a traveling dinosaur exhibit downstairs, and we really kind of want to see that. So we did pay a little bit additional to see that. I think it was another $10 a piece. So we'll be checking that out as well. They also gave us a map of the museum. This is the ground floor and first floor, and it kind of gives you an idea of where everything is at. And check this out. This is one of the first things we see. This is from a Triceratops, and they have a little write-up here about it. And this is pretty big. It's actually on two 8-foot tables. So about 8 feet by maybe 4.5 feet wide. Pretty good size. And of course, just a minute ago you saw that in the background. We're going to walk over there and check that skeleton out too. And also look at these birds. They've got different birds in a glass case here. Might be a little difficult to see through that glass with the glare. And right here, we see a lot of these lately. Over the past, probably the past 10 years, these have kind of really come into Michigan a lot. Or I'm seeing a lot more of them in the last 10 years. I don't recall ever seeing them before. These are sandhill cranes. They make a very distinct sound. As they're walking around, sometimes even flying around, you can hear them make that sound. It's pretty loud, and you definitely know when they're fairly nearby. I would say maybe within a block or two, because they're very, very loud. There's also this exhibit here, and it looks like it's a VR exhibit. This is Cranbrook VR, and unfortunately, it is closed right now. But it looks like you could have gone in here and maybe seen some sort of three-dimensional or virtual reality type show of some sort. And I'm assuming it might have something to do with dinosaurs, because that's what this area is. And look here, this way to T-Rex, and that's where we're going to head over to. I really want to see that T-Rex skeleton, and wow, check it out. There it is. How cool is that? That is not something you'd want to run into a couple billion years ago, right? That long tail. Here's some mention of the T-Rex family tree. And this wall right here talks about how there are many differences between different generations of birds. And sometimes you can see the difference, sometimes you can't. I'm not sure what all of the differences are. But there are some easily spottable ones, such as the coloration of the birds. And in case you're wondering why we're talking about birds and why this rooster is down here, it's because, believe it or not, they say that the dinosaurs, or at least the T-Rex, is related to birds, believe it or not. That is pretty wild, isn't it? is not something I'd ever want to be eaten by or trampled on. Looking at these articulated skeletons of some other birds, you can kind of see a little bit how the T-Rex is related to birds. Kind of look similar once you remove everything and just see the skeleton. Take a look at this vicious looking bird and the teeth inside the mouth of it, and those claws. This is a prehistoric bird, and I have no idea how to pronounce it. Archaeopteryx, maybe? Not sure. And over here, this says it's a Deinonychus. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But we have yet another dinosaur over here behind the glass case. Looks a lot like the T-Rex, but slightly different. And it says this one was very bird-like in its bone structure and features. And while this one is still much smaller, I would not want to run into this. Over here they have a chart explaining the different periods in time. Late Triassic was 230 million years ago. The early Jurassic period, 208 million years ago. The Middle Jurassic, 187 million years ago. And the Late Jurassic period began 163 million years ago. Of course, they have others as you move along, different periods in time. And over here is one of those interactive pieces I was talking about. You can turn the dial, and it interacts on the screen. And the more you move it, the faster it moves through time. And you can see that little bar just barely moving as I move this dial faster and faster. It's still just taking forever. You can see it moving a little bit better on the bottom. I don't know if this is going to change. This one's going to be even slower, I think. Yep, they have another dial over here, and this one is moving even slower. This is through years, and this one is through millions of years. And look, I'm moving millions of years as I turn this thing, and it's just barely moving on the screen. Over here we got some dinosaur footprints. Another one up there. Right here the sign says, "Meet Black Beauty, this Tyrannosaurus Rex is a reconstruction of a skeleton found by 3 high school students in Alberta, Canada in 1981. And right down here is the copy of that skeleton. It looks like a lower mandible, lower portion of the jaw of one of these guys. I don't know if this is another recreation of that same exact jaw. It does look very similar. It looks like it's missing the same bottom teeth. I'm not quite sure. That is somewhere you would not want to be. So there's definitely more dinosaurs downstairs. We're going to be checking those out shortly. But check this little model out. It says Detroit could be leveled by a huge pile of ice. In the background there you see a huge pile of ice. And they've got this model set up of Detroit. Pretty crazy. So over here they have a model of the solar system. So over here, the very wobbly portion of our solar system. And that's supposed to be the Earth traveling around the sun as it spins on its axis. Of course, the axis would be angled in reality. We wouldn't have those big tabs sticking out the side to make it look like those rings, but you get the idea. And over here, a better representation. As you move the Earth around this table, you can see it spins slowly, changing as it goes around. Over here, there's a piece of granite bedrock that was taken from Canada, and these odd-looking grooves are kind of worn into it. This was not shaped. This was not part of some building that fell apart or something like that. These grooves were made by ice. Yeah, believe that or not. Over here, another interactive exhibit with this trackball. And as you move it around, you can do different things on the screen. And it points to different things, tells you different things about glacial ice as you move around. And over here behind this glass case, a lot of mastodon bones. And it says these kids found mastodon bones in Pontiac in 1963. It says an Highway I-75 was just being built. They were near the highway construction, and they saw a big bone sticking out of the ground. It was the roof of the mastodon's mouth. How cool is that? And over here, they have a replica of a giant mastodon. And I have to back up because it's so big, it won't quite fit in my frame. It's huge. And just to give you an idea, I've seen elephants before. We went to the circus about a year ago and we saw some elephants. This is about easily twice the size of a normal elephant. It's gigantic. And here's the other side of the case with the mastodon bones and the tusks as well. Take a look. The upper portion of the jaw there. And down there, the lower portion. And over here, they have a skull from a giant beaver. Now, we've seen replicas of these giant beavers when we did the Toledo Zoo Museum. So we know they are pretty big. There's an actual skull from one right there. And just in comparison, here's a modern beaver. And the skull of the giant beaver would actually fit inside of the modern beaver. So looking at this glass case here, it took me a minute to figure out what this was. I thought it was decorative. These are all arrowheads. They're actual arrowheads. And there's a little bit of detail here about the first Americans not being primitive and going on and on about how they had tools to hunt, like spears with arrowheads attached to them. And back over here we have some taxidermy. Got a mountain goat and a musk ox. And then next to that, a cougar or a mountain lion. Above, a moose head. And then over here we have another cougar and a North American black bear. He's just a little bit taller than me, so I think he wins. And those teeth, yeah, a little bit sharper than mine. Over here we've got an Arctic wolf. And check this guy out. We're just checking out his claws first. Just look at those claws. No, thank you. This is a grizzly bear. And while he is on a rock that's about 1.5 feet higher than me, I think he'd still be a good 2 feet taller than I am. He definitely wins. Over here, we have a giant slice of a tree trunk. And unfortunately can't tell how old it is. There's no chart explaining. I think it's a redwood, simply because of the fact that the outside has a reddish appearance to it. But it does talk about what age the tree was. Towards the center it says Norseman, land in America, Normans conquer England. Children's Crusade to the Holy Land, Ming Dynasty, in China, on and on and on, all the way till, well, I can't even quite make it out. Looks like it says, Houghton starts Michigan's copper industry. So quite old. And over here, this exhibit talks about plant life from the beginning, starting with bacteria, then going on to simple plant life and moving on through the water, I believe, because I do see, as we move down here, there are some underwater sea life. Got some fungi over here. Then we have bloodworms, earthworms, sponges, and then on to jellyfish, coral, starfish. Over here, some crabs and some other shellfish. And then over here to amphibians like the frogs, reptiles, snakes, lizards, turtles, crocodiles, into the birds. And then over to the mammals. And down here, this platypus-looking creature says it's a short-beaked echidna. Looks like something out of a Star Wars movie. Pretty crazy. It kind of interesting. It's got the quills on its back and that odd-looking beak, and then those hands that are webbed towards the inside, but kind of look more like claws on the outside. Pretty interesting. And over here, this particular exhibit is filled with different colored butterflies. Lots of them. Pink, blue, turquoise. Got some orange and yellow down towards the bottom. Pretty cool looking. And over here, this case is filled with beetles. Lots of different colors and markings on them. The black and white ones at the beginning, then you've got some green ones. And then even solid black ones over here. All the way over to here, we've got some emerald colored beetles as well. Over on the opposite side, all kinds of sea life, like this hammerhead shark. Just below it, very small, underneath the tail fin there is a clownfish. And a blue tang, I think that's what dory was. And a giant sailfish, some eels, and some other sea life. And up here, all kinds of fish. Rainbow trout, walleye, muskie, Asian carp. Over there's salmon. Alright, it looks like the next area of the museum we're entering is the story of us, and it's down this way. It's told in 4 parts with a storytelling interlude.
Exhibit, The Story of Us. As you will soon see, it's a great story. It's about us, all of us. You, me, everybody. About how we live, what we believe, how we survive, how we get along or sometimes don't get along with one another. Our story begins at the very earliest glimmers of human history. As you go through the exhibit, you will see wondrous objects from the Institute's collections. You will also see large books, like this one, that will help your visit be a rewarding and special one.
It was a neat little way they did the hologram of the woman speaking to us, telling us what we're going to see. And it doesn't look as good, at least on the screen, as it did in reality. Looked pretty good the way they did it. And unfortunately, we're getting a little bit of reflection and glare from the outside windows.
To survive, we need to have food pretty much every day. In our part of the world, with our convenient supermarkets, Most of us take for granted that food is always available, but we
So over here, they're talking about the beginning of food gathering and how we had to hunt for our food using spears and fishing hooks and things of that nature. And then eventually how we had to make the food. We have some ladles and spoons here. Not even quite sure what these things are here. Looks like they're maybe for mixing and stirring food. Actually, there's a nice little interactive chart here that will tell us what these are. Let's start with this. Oh, I was completely wrong. These are blowgun darts with a quiver. Those are blowgun darts that we're seeing. I don't know. I guess the blowguns are maybe behind. Those look like bows. Oh, actually, I think these are the blowguns here. Yeah, that's the blowgun. So that big long thing that you're seeing in front is the blowgun, and those are the darts in the quiver. And that's how we used to hunt. And over here we have a quiver filled with arrows, and of course plenty of bows in the background. And if I wasn't getting that glare, there we go. You can see that there are some arrows up above those bows. A little dark in here, but I think you get the idea. With some boomerangs as well. Over here we have a Japanese samurai outfit. Check this out.
The objects we have around us, or
Very,
sometimes
very
we
cool.
wear, tell others about who we are and the relationships that are
Some
important to
swords
us.
down there.
Sometimes we mark ourselves in ways to tell others something about
Over here, a European mace from the 18th century.
Think about some of the best or happiest times you had, or even the saddest. Most likely, a relationship was involved.
Down below, that
They
belt
show
is
how
from
we change
the
our relationships over
Sioux
time.
Indians.
Imagine the relationships
19th
told by the
century.
objects you see here.
A couple
Do they
other
show
items back in
confidence?
here.
Was there affection?
That black shirt is actually a dress. It's not a shirt. And it is
Think about
beaded
some of the
with
best or
shells.
happiest times you had, or even the saddest.
The decorative parrot sculpture is actually from, it says India,
The objects here show
Asia,
how
20th century. So I'm not quite sure. It might be from India.
we love and
Looks more Indian than Asian, but who knows?
we can show how we change our relationships over time. Imagine relationships told by
Now the red hat here, this red hat is an official's hat from China in the 19th century. It says Chinese government officials would have worn this during the Manchu dynasty. And over here we have a replica of King Tut's throne from Africa in the 20th century. And over here we have another one of those
Think about it
hologram
this way. Everyone you will ever
setups.
meet
This one's
anywhere in the
life-size.
world
This is
shares many
pretty
of the
cool.
same needs and
It
abilities
has
you
3
have.
dimension to it. I'm sure you guys
As you
can't
see
see
around here in
that
the exhibit, through the many
in the
objects,
video, but
we
it's
all
very
need to
unique.
eat. We all have relationships with each other. We all make and use things to improve our lives. And we all think about what may be beyond life. Here, look at these bowls. One is from China, one is from New Mexico, and one's from Africa. Each made by people who never heard of one another, from different countries and different times. Yet any one of these bowls could be found in any one of their houses and used in very much the same way.
Over here we have a dance outfit from Brazil around 1945. Lots of other tribal items in here as well. That shield in the back is from New Guinea, Melanesia, 20th century. And this wooden sculpture here says New Ireland, Melanesia, 19th century. So the canoe here says it's a birch bark canoe, Great Lakes region, North America, 18th century. And right in front of us here, this orangish red blouse says it's from Panama, Central America, 20th century. The odd-looking sword there that's wavy says it's from the Philippines with an unknown date.
And throughout our story, we've been very busy creating, turning the materials around us into the things that we use in our lives. We create when we have to, and when we don't have to. For thousands of years, we need to be creative.
Hello there. It's me, Meg. So nice to see you today.
These random looking objects in front of us are containers for storing or carrying things. Like the bag right in front of us there. This is a birch bark container from the Great Lakes region, North America, 19th century. This Indian headdress is from the Sioux Indians around the 19th century. And here we have the Woodlands Den. We're going to enter that now. It's like they have different nature scenes set up in here. It says beach, maple forest. And over here, the oak hickory forest. And right here we've got a meadow. Not sure how these are looking in the video, but from what I see on the screen, I think they're going to look better than they do in real life. They're pretty impressive here. This one here says Spruce Cedar Bog. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but they do have a lot of actual trees and twigs and flowers and moss and things like that, and it blends right into the painted background, which is done very, very well. This one over here says Conifer Forest. And over here we have sand dune. This should look familiar. We have plenty of these in the north in Michigan. And then this one here says Northern Lake Shore. Very well done. And this was hiding right around the corner next to the bathrooms. Had I not walked over to see if there was a drinking fountain, I would not have noticed this. It's a megalodon. This is a giant shark, prehistoric shark that is no longer in existence. But this is a model of its jaw, and look at this thing. You guys probably can't tell how big it is, but I'm going to tell you from bottom to top, definitely bigger than I am. I could easily walk through there without having to duck at all. I have to step over the bottom, but walk right in without having to duck. So that's probably close to 6 feet in height. This area here says every rock has a story, and there's all kinds of information about various types of stone and rocks. Basically everything you need to know about geology. Back in here talks about the earth and its crust, mantle, different samples and pieces that you can see, take a look at. Over here, this is a example of copper from Michigan. This was mined copper. Rather interesting. And over here we have some copper ore, natural. See it kind of shining a little bit in the light. And right back here, check this crystal out. I don't see a plaque on this one, so I'm not sure what type of mineral this is. It kind of looks like quartz. but I don't see anything explaining what it is. In this case here, different crystals. I'm not exactly sure what these all are. This one says garnet. Over here, pyrite crystals, that's fool's gold. And with this one here, fluorite. I'm not sure what all these, more pyrite over here. And some others, there's some gypsum, malachite, calcite, and some more fluorite over there. And I was just talking about this with my daughter the other day. A lot of people don't realize that there is a giant underground city in Detroit. It is the caverns where they mine salt. And it says back in 1895, vast deposits of halite or rock salt were discovered deep beneath Detroit. Mining of this ancient resource began in the early 1900s and was used primarily for tanning leather and preserving food. There are currently over 100 miles of commercial salt mining tunnels below the city, with all of the salt being used for seasonal road de-icing. And you can see a big chunk of it right here. That's salt. Take a look at this quartz amethyst. Very colorful indeed. I pulled my light out so you guys could see the color a little bit better. Check that out. Just amazing. And over here we have a slice of petrified wood, a piece of a tree trunk. Very cool looking. Try and get a little bit closer and get rid of some of the glare so you guys can see a little bit better the detail. Now this one here is really cool looking. It says it's quartz with clay inclusions. So there's like chunks of clay in the quartz, which is really unique because it looks like little glass cubes with things frozen inside of them. Very, very different. I've never seen anything like that. And over here you can see there's like a window looking out at planet Earth. And I think what that's supposed to represent is the area that gets sunlight as the Earth turns and orbits the sun. And over here is the other side of the planet Earth globe that I was talking about that's spinning on its axis. And they've got kind of a 3D representation on the globe. You can see the various mountain ranges that are under the water in the ocean, as well as the ones on land up there. It's very three-dimensional. And there's also some charts down at the bottom showing you where you can find certain types of rock on our planet. So guys, the area that we're headed into next is highly interactive, and because of that, it's a bit noisy. I hope the audio turns out okay. I hope you guys are able to hear me. You can probably hear people clanging already, but we're headed that direction right now, and it's gonna be a little bit loud. And here we are, headed into that area right now. It says it's called Motion Gallery Observatory, and there's a lot of different things to see over here. This is kind of neat. It says if we put one of these balls up here, fell and hit nothing, but if we change all of these, we might be able to make that work now. Let's put our ball here. A bit too far. I think to here. We'll try it again. Not quite. I was beginning to think we weren't going to get that. And this is one of those contraption style machines where the ball goes up, goes along the track. Down here goes up the next conveyor belt. This one seems to be a little bit slower. And we're off. Going to dump out into these giant. It's taken a long time to get down there. There we go. Into the next hall. And finally down. And it moves a fidget spinner. All the stairs. All over again. Alright, heading downstairs for the traveling exhibit. And that happens to be the dinosaur exhibit, so looking forward to seeing these. Alright guys, this is the dinosaur exhibit area. We're going to head in and take a look around here. And this was an additional. But we did want to see the dinosaur, so we're heading in here. This area says, Sue the T-Rex Experience. Welcome to the world of Tyrannosaurus Rex. We have a giant mural. It is lit up over here. And the floor is set up like an excavation area. Like an archaeologist was digging. And this is where the bones were found. And we've got some of the pieces exhibited that they found. Rare fossils, amber tails. This area shows you how they found the bones, what they found, or where they found them. And these were found apparently in South Dakota. There's a three-dimensional mapping showing what they found and how they find it. dinosaur bones get covered up over time by sand, wind, moves pieces of soil over the top, water, snow, all that, and it just kind of piles up until they're buried. 67 million years ago, and this was beside a river. There's a piece of the fossil. It's part of the jaw. Apparently they named this T-Rex Sue. And I believe this is just a replica showing you how they excavated it from the ground. This is what a juvenile Tyrannosaurus Rex would look like size-wise. Like the angry teenager. And check this out right here. Here's what that T-Rex would have looked like with all his skin on top of those bones. And look, he's just chowing down on another dinosaur here. Not sure what he is. But he has made short work of that little guy. He's got his tiny front arms right there. His tiny little front arms don't do much, but that big jaw sure does, and look at the size of his belly. I can't even back up far enough. I'm at the wall. This is as far away as I can get. He's huge. And there are his giant feet, and check out the tail. That goes on 30-some feet away, and I think that tail was for balance because they pretty much just used those back legs. The front ones really weren't for much. They didn't do a whole lot because they're so short. That tail will keep them balanced. Extra weight in the back. Pretty incredible. Check out this Triceratops. How cool is that? Triceratops was a pretty big animal as well. Definitely much bigger than a hippo or a rhino. Not something you want to challenge. And over here is the T-Rex named Sue. And it says the next Sue show starts in about 13 or so minutes. You've got little monitors here below, and I'm not sure if there's a show here where Sue is at, or if it's over on that video screen over there. Not quite sure about that. Have to wait and see. It's only about 13 minutes out, so we'll find out. Look how long that tail is. Approximately 40.5 feet long, and estimated weight of about 7 to 10 tons. And about 30 years old at age of death. Well guys, if you had smell-o-vision, you'd be able to smell these various things that they've captured here, and it tells you what they are. The first one smells like a flowering tree. The second one is a ginger-like plant. And the third one is a conifer tree, which is basically a pine tree. So, pine and different types of flowers and plants. My daughter also pointed out this one here that I missed, and apparently you can smell Sue's breath. No, thank you. It does say, please smell at your own risk.
A Tyrannosaurus rex. And this T-Rex is named Sue. Sue is the most complete, best preserved T-Rex ever found. And that means we can tell this dinosaur story in detail. Sue lived about 67 million years ago in what is now South Dakota. At the time, the landscape was lush and humid, quenched by rivers winding across forested floodplains. This was near the end of the age of dinosaurs, not long before an asteroid impact changed life on Earth forever. These jaws could bite down with a force of 8,000 pounds per square inch, enough to crush a pickup truck. Sue needed that bone-shattering bite to bring down giant, dangerous prey. But hunting other dinosaurs wasn't always easy. Even a top predator like Sue risked injury. A close look at the skeleton reveals the evidence. These broken and healed over ribs are among more than a dozen injuries to Sue's bones. Sue managed to survive to old age, but over time, arthritis ravaged these tail joints and fused them together, making it impossible for them to move. Now look down at this leg bone. Its lumpy, deformed shape was probably caused by an infection. If you look up at the jaw, you'll see some holes. These may be the result of a disease Sue got from eating infected prey. This jaw infection may have made it so painful to eat that Sue eventually starved. But we don't know everything. There are still some big questions out there. Was Sue male or female? What were those tiny arms used for? Did T-Rex have feathers? Did they hunt in packs or alone? We've learned so much about T-Rex in the last 100 years, and with each new discovery, the more vividly we can see the towering, ferocious, battle-scarred predator that Sue once was.
Well guys, that's going to do it for our trip out to the Cranbrook Institute of Science. My daughter and I both really had a good time. She liked the minerals and the stones a little bit more than I did. That's not my sort of thing. I enjoyed the dinosaurs. I thought that was really cool, especially the Sue dinosaur exhibit. That was a lot of fun. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to click on that compass so you can stay subscribed to future videos just like this one. And remember, adventure is just a short drive away.